Jon Stewart could barely keep a straight face after watching Donald Trump repeatedly ignore a Fox News question about Lindsey Graham during a phone interview. Stewart discussed Graham's death on the July 13th episode of The Daily Show and aired a montage of Trump speaking to multiple news outlets after the senator died. Stewart discussed Graham's death on the July 13 episode of The Daily Show and aired a montage of Trump speaking to multiple news outlets after the senator died. Graham died on July 11th at the age of 71. Preliminary reports from a medical examiner cited an aortic dissection as the cause of death. During the Fox News interview, Trump began talking about what he called Trump Derangement Syndrome and election fraud instead of answering the question about Graham. Jones repeatedly attempted to interrupt and ask, "Did you notice anything different?" But Trump continued speaking over him. In another clip aired on The Daily Show, Jones again tried to bring the conversation back to Graham, while Trump continued discussing ballots and election claims. The montage ended with Jones still attempting to ask whether Trump noticed anything different about Graham during their phone call, while Trump continued talking. After the clip finished, Stewart was shown laughing and covering his mouth as the studio audience also laughed. Once he regained his composure, Stewart joked that the television station must have been going through a tunnel, pretending to be the Fox host trying to ask the unanswered question. After laughing through Trump's Fox News interview, Jon Stewart came back with another viral moment, this time aimed directly at the president's appearance.
Kaitlan Collins, on receiving her award, it was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I didn't mind. I said, "Kaitlan, congratulations." Young, attractive woman. She never smiles. I said, "Kaitlan, do you ever smile?" Smile. You have a nice position.
CNN anchor Kaitlan Collins has taken a subtle but pointed swipe at U.S. President Donald Trump after he mocked her journalism award at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Appearing on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Collins suggested Trump's repeated attacks revealed just how much her award and the reporting behind it had gotten under his skin. Speaking with Jon Stewart, Collins reflected on Trump's decision to single her out during his speech at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Rather than responding to the personal insults, the CNN host said the president's reaction spoke for itself. "The fact that I got an award for it really bothered him clearly," Collins said, adding that she prefers to keep the focus on the reporting instead of engaging in personal back and forth with Trump. Collins explained that Trump's criticism wasn't surprising because she has become accustomed to similar attacks while questioning him inside the Oval Office. She said making the story about her personal reaction would distract from the journalism and the questions that prompted Trump's comments. Jon Stewart, who has frequently clashed with Trump himself, also poked fun at the president's White House Correspondents' Dinner speech. Stewart asked Collins whether Trump's remarks were bombing as hard as it appeared on TV. Collins replied that after covering Trump for nearly a decade, she has heard almost every version of his speeches. But she admitted she was surprised by how quiet the room became, despite it being packed with Republican allies and White House staff. When Stewart jokingly suggested the silence was because of how much they respect him, Collins smiled and simply responded, "Who's to say?" The exchange came after Trump used his White House Correspondents' Dinner speech to mock Collins' recent journalism honor. Collins had received the award for excellence in presidential news coverage under deadline pressure for her reporting on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's 2025 Oval Office visit. During his remarks, Trump sarcastically congratulated Collins before repeatedly calling her award fake and claiming it was all about me.
But I want to personally congratulate CNN's Kaitlan Collins on receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I didn't mind. I said, "Kaitlan, congratulations." but it was fake. There's no question about it. But she's a young, attractive woman. She never smiles. I said, Kaitlan, do you ever smile? Smile. You have a nice position. You're at CNN fake news. You should be a happy person. So smile, Kaitlan, just smile. But we attack, and I thought Kaitlan had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can, it was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial ever made, by the way, for those few people that want to hear that. Most people don't care, but I would. I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon.
The latest exchange adds another chapter to the long-running feud between Trump and one of CNN's most prominent White House correspondents. Over the years, Trump has repeatedly targeted Collins, calling her a corrupt reporter, accusing her of spreading fake news, and criticizing both her questions and her appearance during public exchanges.
But I want to personally congratulate CNN's Kaitlan Collins on receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I didn't mind. I said, Kaitlan, congratulations. But it was fake. There's no question about it. But she's a young, attractive woman. She never smiles. I said, Kaitlan, do you ever smile? Smile. You have a nice position. You're at CNN fake news. You should be a happy person. So smile, Kaitlan, just smile. But we attack, and I thought Kaitlan had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can, it was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial ever made, by the way, for those few people that want to hear that. Most people don't care, but I would. I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon. Think of it, they hired Dylan Mulvaney, and their market cap has gone down by $35 billion. Who wrote that commercial? And then you have writer Josh Dorsey. He also received, he's been killing me for years. No, he's been, and yet tonight he shakes my hand, he hugs me, everything nice. He kills me. Josh is amazing. He writes more stories than any human being. There's nobody that writes more than Josh. He'll write 4 stories about me a day, all different subjects. I mean, I had the other day 3 stories and one on the, he was upset about this. 1 was on page 7, 3 were on page 1. They were all written by Josh. But he's hit the big time, and he's a workhorse, and yet he's almost unhireable. You know, he's just one of these guys. Wall Street Journal's lucky to have him, but you really, it's unbelievable. He's almost unhireable. CNN is also here, and I'm very disappointed they didn't bring Fake Tapper because he's had a rough couple of years, Fake has. You know, he calls me up every once in a while. If I pick it up, I pick up my phone. I used to go to this young lady, I'd say, any calls from the press? No, sir. I said, oh, now I'm the president of the United States, right? I'd say to Stephen Chung, is Stephen here someplace? Where's Stephen? He's one of the toughest human beings I've ever met. Don't ever wrestle Stephen, you'll be in big trouble. But I say, Stephen, let me ask you, did the press call? No, sir. You know, when I was a developer, I'd get a call every half an hour. For whatever reason, I always got disproportionate press. So I said, Stephen, nobody called? No, sir. 2 hours later, I say, hi, Steve, how are we doing? Everything good? Anybody call? No, sir, no press calls. I say, I'm president. Nope, they never call. So this went on for about a week. I'd say, Caroline, did the press call? No, sir, no calls. I said, nothing. It's over a week. I haven't received a call. So I said, you know what I'll do? I'm going to give the press my phone number. That was the stupidest thing I ever did. I'm getting a call every 3.7 minutes. Stephen, I don't know where the hell you've been, but the press calls, I'm getting calls, ring, ring. I was with somebody today. They said, I've never heard a phone ring as much as it's fresh. Now, I look at the thing and usually just delete, delete, delete. Every once in a while, it'll be one of the people in this room that I like, and I'll pick it up. Like this one right here calls me on occasion, right? She'll call me and she says, hello, sir. How are you? We want to talk about some horrible subject, like a horrible, depressing subject. I say, Jackie, I don't want to talk about it. Congratulations, however, on your new marriage.